Scusi, delegato. Good morning, delegates. Welcome to the first session of UNESCO. My name is Palma, and I'll be your first chair for the committee. The topic is schooling and protection of children in conflict zones. We will commence today's session with roll call. Please remember that delegates identify themselves as present and voting are not permitted to abstain on any substantive vote while in the session of the committee. These delegates must vote strictly in favor or in opposition to any motion before the committee. Those delegates who identify themselves as present may abstain from voting. So, we'll go alphabetically. Australia.
Present and voting.
Austria.
Present and voting.
Brazil.
Present and voting.
Colombia.
Present and voting.
Greece.
Present.
India.
Present and voting.
Norway.
Not here.
Portugal.
Present and voting.
Switzerland.
Present.
United Arab Emirates.
Present and voting.
So, the committee, seeing is there are only 9 delegates here. The simple majority will be set at 5 delegates, whereas the two-third majority will be set at 6.
Sorry. Now it is ready.
Delegate, please send a note to the dice, setting your presence and your voting position. You will not be acknowledged in a standing voting procedure if the dice has not recorded your attendance. Thank you, delegate from Norway. There are now 10 delegates present. So the majority will be set at 6 delegates and two-third majority will be set at 7. Are there any points or motion on the floor at this time?
Point of personal privilege. Could the air conditioning be turned on as it is a bit warm in here?
Yes, sure. Are there any other points or motion on the floor? Seeing none, the first order of business for the committee is to set the main speakers list. Is there a motion to set the speaking time? Yes, President, you have been recognized.
President, motion to set speaking time to 3 minutes.
Thank you, Delegate. So, time is set to 3 minutes. Those wishing to be placed on the speakers list, please raise your place card now. Delegate of Brazil, you have been recognized. Delegate of Colombia, you have been recognized. Delegate of Greece, you have been recognized. Delegate of India, you have been recognized. Delegate of Switzerland, you have been recognized. Delegate of United Arab Emirates, you have been recognized. Delegates, due to high time constraint, we will now stop the speakers list. But if any delegate would like to include their name on the speakers list, please send a written sheet to the head table. Thank you, delegates. Delegate of President, you now have the floor for a duration of 3 minutes.
Thank you. Honorable Chair, fellow delegates, according to UNICEF, 1 in 10 of the world's children, or more than 2,030 million children currently live in countries affected by armed conflicts. Besides suffering from violence and humanitarian issues, children are also at increased risk of missing out on a key part of their personal development and education. As a specialized agency of the United Nations, UNESCO is one of these situations tasked with solving these problems. Providing children with an education is society's main instrument for refusing and advising its value and knowledge. Education has also a significant impact on personal and family health and increases skill and the productivity of the workforce, resulting in higher economic growth. Irina Bokova, Director General of UNESCO, said that across many of the world's poorest countries, armed conflict continues to destroy not just the school infrastructure, but also the hopes and ambition of a whole generation of children. The United Nations adopted the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, also known as Sustainable Development Goal, and the UN Sustainable Development Summit in September 2015. Goal *1 of SDGs reads by 2030 ensure that all girls and boys completely free, equitable and quality primary and secondary education leading to relevant and effective learning outcomes. The SDGs have become the guiding agenda of all UN specialized agencies, including UNESCO. Support goal of the 2030 agenda, Brazil strives to ensure that children have access to education everywhere. This delegate feels that schooling and protection of children in conflict zone is a very important topic, and education is a human right. In Brazil, around the quarter of population live below the poverty line. In this country, 80% of the population live in urban areas, and in these cities, that great injustice appear between the rich living in affluent neighbors and the poor living in the favelas. These two categories of population live in close proximity to another one, and yet their comfort and the quality of life were ensured. They will find themselves at opposite ends of the social spectrum. Children living in the favelas are confronted on a daily basis with problems relating to the health, food, access to the water, education, and violence. In Brazil, we are reducing violence and protect adolescents by promoting peaceful solutions. This delegate thinks that only cooperating it is possible to find solutions to increase education in conflict zone. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Delegate of Colombia, you now have the floor for a duration of 3 minutes.
Honorable Chair, fellow delegates, according to the Article 26 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, everyone has the right to education, everywhere. Education is about much more than simply acquiring skills and knowledge. It helps to improve the economic and social welfare, opens new opportunities to participate in a public life, and can be a key ingredient for driving political change. Unfortunately, a lot of children live in countries affected by armed conflicts. They are the most vulnerable part of the population. Even when displaced people reach safe areas or designated refugee camps, provided a quality education can prove difficult due to a shortage of qualified teachers in the area or language barriers. In many regions, armed groups also internationally target schools, teachers and students. An example of a child being targeted for pursuing an education is the Pakistan girl Malala Yousafzai, who was attacked by Taliban fighters in 2012. She survived and was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2014 for her advocacy for the right of girls to education. Colombia is deeply involved in this topic. This country faces many problems. 45% of the population of Colombia lives below the poverty line. Although the country possesses much wealth, it is shared very unequally and consists aggraved by the regular armed conflicts and frequent natural disaster spaces. The most vulnerable victim of this oppressive poverty, the multitude of homeless children abandoned to sleep on the streets of big cities, without shelter of aid, represent an unacceptable situation. In Colombia, approximately 1 in 10 children requires no schooling. Many schools are forced to close for extended periods on a regular basis, and it takes months to construct them following each destruction. Periods often prolonged by failure to achieve peace. Furthermore, poverty faces many children who work in order to help in providing for the daily needs of their families, making education a distant secondary priority. So, which measures can taken to provide an education to children displaced by conflict? How can international humanitarian aid reach children in conflict zone? Let's act together. Together we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Delegate of Greece, you now have the floor for a duration of 3 minutes.
Thank you. Honorable Chair, fellow delegates, armed conflicts always disproportionately impact the weakest members of society. Children, being the most vulnerable part of the population, often suffer the most from the fighting and the residing in school. Young people with no education are more likely to join rebel groups, and widespread poverty can lead to distribution conflicts over resources. This can create a vicious cycle where the conflicts continue to fuel itself and make denying education a tool of choice for groups seeking to prolong the armed conflict. Goal number 4 of SDGs say that by 2030 all girls and boys will receive quality education. The SDGs have become the guiding agenda of all UN specialized agencies, including UNESCO. Like Colombia, also Greece fails to be involved in this topic, since the crisis struck Greeks, especially children, have been suffering from worsening life conditions. They are facing more and more difficulties, such as being abandoned due to rising poverty level. The financial crisis is in Greece progressively transforming into a social crisis, leading to rise in the country's poverty level. A study from 2008 underlined the fact that poverty mainly affected children through employed parents, lack of education and large family size. So this delegate would like to support children in conflict zone. As Colombia said, together we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Delegate of India, you now have the floor for a duration of 3 minutes.
Thank you. Honorable Chair, fellow delegates, India is glad to be a part of this committee. Schooling and protection of children in conflict zone is a very important topic today, as the number 4 of Sustainable Development Goals states education for everyone everywhere, so also and above all in conflict zones. The Republic of India is a country in the South Asia that has 29 states. It has 6 bordering countries, including Pakistan, China, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, and Myanmar. India has a lot of diversity in custom, tradition, and languages. India's current population, standing at 1.21 billion, it is the second most populous and 7th most extensive country in the world. Despite the fact that the country has shown remarkable progress in terms of economic growth, with an average of 7.3% over the past 8 years, it continues to face many challenges. High growth rates being accompanied by persistent poverty and inequality. Despite India's significant progress in addressing poverty access to education, the results have mainly been uneven. India's children continue to face some of the harshest conditions anywhere in the world, with the high malnutrition rates, child labor. There are 472 million children in India under the age of 18 years, representing the 39% of the country's total population. A large percentage of 29% of that figure constitutes children between the ages of 0 to 6 years. In addition, 73% of children in India are living in rural areas, often have limited access to fundamental needs such as nutrition, access to health care, education and protection. It is clear that in India promoting children's rights is a government priority. Anyway, this delegate is ready to act and help children everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Delegate of Switzerland, you now have the floor for a duration of 3 minutes.
Thank you. Honorable Chair, fellow delegates, today we are gathered here to discuss the extremely relevant issue of schooling and protection of children in conflict zones. Since 2002, UNESCO is annually publishing the Global Education Monitoring Report. It details progresses and challenges of education in the world and analyzes the influence of external factors on the quality of education, as well as the effect of education levels on a country's development. The title of 2011 issue was The Hidden Crisis, Armed Conflict and Education, recognizing armed conflict as one of the biggest factors that kept children out of the schools. Ever since, the influence of armed conflict and other crises on education has taken a prominent role in the annual reports. In Northern and Western Africa, one of the most unstable regions in the world, countries with armed conflict make up even 91% of cases of children out of schools. Switzerland has the reputation of being a rich country, yet almost 9% of the population lives below the poverty line. Moreover, the policy on foreigners is particularly strict in Switzerland. It is estimated that around 10,000 undocumented children live there. A 2010 study by Terre des Hommes revealed that because of the complexity of the asylum application process, a frightening number of non-accompanied minors disappear every year.
but around 10% do not have proper schooling. In general, undocumented individuals avoid seeing the doctor for fear of being denounced. Therefore, their children usually do not have access to basic health care. Furthermore, the majority of them live under the poverty line. The future prospects for child refugees in Switzerland are therefore especially grim. This delegate thinks that finding solutions for children in conflict zones and giving them protection is a duty for every civilized country. Let's act together. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Delegate of United Arab Emirates, do you now have the floor for a duration of 3 minutes?
Thank you. Honorable Chair, fellow delegates, it's an honor for me to stay here today and to be part of this committee. While the international community has undertaken efforts to increase protections for children in armed conflicts, the changing nature of modern wars and increase the options of children to all aspects of the conflict. Traditional safe havens, such as school and hospital, have also increasingly became a deliberate target. In 2015, the education sector received only 198 million humanitarian aid, amounting to 1.9% of total international development aid. The same year, only 31% of the requests for humanitarian aid from the education sector were covered, compared with an average of 55% across all sectors. Global development aid for education is lower today than it was in 2009. This indicates to developed countries to do not value of the support for education in their aid highly, and instead shift to focus towards other sectors. Children are the most vulnerable part of the population. On the one hand, they are defenseless against the direct effects of the conflict. They are killed subjects of abductions, recruited as child soldiers, and face various other forms of violence and exploitation. On the other hand, they are also subjected to the disastrous humanitarian consequences, such as food and water scarcity, and a lack of access to basic medical care. Providing children with an education is society's main instrument for reproducing and advancing its values and knowledge. Honorable delegates of the House, we need to come to a consensus in order to solve this issue right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Are there any other points or motions on the floor at this time? Portugal, you have been recognized.
Point of information to the chair. What time is lunch?
At 1 p.m. Delegate.
Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Are there any other points or motion on the floor? Austria, you have been recognized.
The delegate from Austria would like to motion for a moderated caucus during which the draft resolution will be read.
Delegates, a 15-minute unmoderate caucus has been proposed by the delegate of Austria. Are there any seconds to this motion? Australia, you have been recognized.
Australia, want to second this motion.
Thank you, dear delegate. Are there other seconds? Delegate of Brazil, you have been recognized. Delegate of Colombia, you have been recognized. Delegate of Greece, you have been recognized. Delegate of India, you have been recognized. Delegate of Switzerland, you have been recognized. Delegate of United Arab Emirates, you have been recognized. All those who are against, please raise your placard. Delegate of Norway, you have been recognized. Delegate of Portugal, you have been recognized. This motion clearly passes. We will now enter in a 15-minute unmoderate caucus. Are there any other points or motion on the floor at this time? No, wait, you have been recognized.
Motion to move in voting procedure on the resolution.
Thank you, delegate. Those in favor of this motion, please raise your placard now. Those in favor to this motion, please raise your placard now. Those against, please raise your placard now. Okay. The majority is clear. So please remember that with regard to voting on motion, you can either vote for a motion or against the motion. But regard to voting on resolution, you have three options. You can either vote for a resolution, you can vote against the resolution, you can abstain from voting on a resolution. Now, as we move in voting procedure, the door will be locked. No one may enter or exit during the voting procedure. Now, as we move in the voting procedure, the door will be locked. No one may enter or exit during the voting procedure. All the delegates in favor of this resolution, please raise up the paper. Now, all the delegates against this resolution, please raise up the placard. Any delegates abstaining from voting on this resolution? Thank you, delegates. Due to an overwhelming majority, this resolution now passes. Are there any other points or motion on the floor at this time? Portugal, you have been recognized.
Portugal would like to motion for a resolution.
This motion is in order. All in favor, please raise a placard. So, this motion clearly passes. This session is now in recess.